Liberty Nation with Tim Donner.
And now it is time to welcome in our regular contributor, constitutional lawyer, and LibertyNation.com legal affairs editor, Scott Cosenza, for the portion of the show which we call Talkin Liberty. Hello, Scott.
Hello, Tim.
Okay, right to the heart of the matter, gun rights, and Smith and Wesson has sued the New Jersey Attorney General. Why is that?
Well, let's get the difficult part right off the bat. The man's name is Grewal, I think is how you say it. It's a tough one for me to wrap my mouth around.
I think we can go with Grewal and be pretty safe.
All right, fair enough. He has weaponized the New Jersey Attorney General's office to go against gun manufacturers, and he set his sights on Smith Wesson, and he's just sent them subpoenas for years-old advertisements under the novel legal theory that if they have advertised that possession of a gun might make someone safer in the home, for instance, that he can maybe sue them because that's false advertising. Now, if that sounds like thin gruel on which to attack, a corporation that sells a high-quality product, Tim, to people who want to buy it, it is. And it's just a blatant attack on the gun-owning rights of the public that he gets to use the government paycheck for to pay for the attacks. Now, Smith & Wesson has countersued or initiated a suit in federal court to have them back off. So we're going to have to wait and see how the courts decide, but a lot of action there.
The Supreme Court hearing the NCAA dispute over compensation for student athletes. And Scott, for years, it's been pretty obvious that college sports is nothing more than another professional enterprise dressed up as a legitimate academic experience.
It seems like we're marching ever closer to the point where the NCAA will have to just pay these people what they're worth in terms of what they bring in, which on the high side is a fantastic amount of money. I mean, the average, sideliner at a D whatever school is not making big bucks. But if you're in the Division I, if you're one of the people who sports fans know their name of that are buying jerseys, well, I think at some point they're going to have to be really compensated. This case doesn't concern actual paychecks, though, Tim. It concerns only ancillary education benefits. The previous to a recent Ninth Circuit ruling, which is where this case comes out of, the NCAA said that those students were restricted from getting educational add-ons commensurate with their scholarship. So they couldn't get, for instance, graduate degrees awarded as part of their compensation, or computers or lab fees and microscope kind of stuff. And the Ninth Circuit said, no, that's appropriate to give these people education-related benefits and items. And so this case concerns whether or not just on that one narrow question, but if they are allowed to give or permitted to give these kinds of things, that just increases, the compensation that these students will get. And I think it's going to be part of the, a hole in the dam that kind of breaks it open when these people demand to get compensated. The coaches, the AD directors, the Nikes and the Reeboks and the shoe companies, everybody's making money off this, except for the people who make it all possible, the actual student athletes.
Let's move on to maybe the primary business which has been affected by the coronavirus, and that is the restaurant business. And in DC, a new law is requiring restaurants to rehire staff that they were forced to lay off during the pandemic.
It just breaks your heart when you see this socialism applied on the granular level and know that how frustrating it's going to be for the owner of the restaurant who's trying to get restaffed and reopened and has to wait days for people who were laid off or left during the pandemic to come back to work because he's going to be required to offer them jobs first. And let's not discount, Tim, the even greater pool of people who will be frustrated by this, the potential worker pool for restaurants who will not be able to secure employment with the ease they would have previously. It's a yoke around their necks. The idea that government's going to help here by instituting these qualifications for employment, I think are just so sad, because it's all going to weigh on the backs of the people who have it the worst, the people who need to work in these restaurants because that's their highest value in the marketplace to feed their families, and the people who own them or are trying to staff them to give their customers a product they'll pay for.
Meanwhile, Scott, and finally, an unlikely group of heroes have emerged in the beautiful, sunny climes of San Diego, California. Who was it that helped to block a lockdown order for businesses? Why, it was San Diego strip club owners.
Pacers, showgirls, and cheetahs sued the county of San Diego and its public health officer and got a cease and desist order that allowed them to operate. They have never been a spreader of COVID-19. They've all followed, all the rules and the capacity restrictions, and they just want to be able to open with those in place. They're not saying they should be able to open at full capacity or in a pre-COVID way, but just that they should be able to, within those science mandated restrictions, make a living. And they got they got a California judge to agree. Now we'll see, Tim, if how appeals work in this case. But for now, anyway, salute Pacers and cheetahs.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Tim.
Hi, I'm Lisa K. Donner, along with Mark Angelides, Sarah Cowgill, Tim Donner, and Scott Cosenza, and this is Liberty Nation.
Now let's take a look at the LibertyNation.com electoral leaderboard. It's still 238 for Joe Biden.
What if stories and legends can offer us the key to unraveling the hottest political issues of the day and apply their lessons to understanding the chaos of modern politics?
Impeach 45!
Only where freedom of speech is honored can people who look, sound, or think differently be truly free.
If you're discussing something that's difficult, the probability that you're not going to offend each other is zero.
President-elect of the United States of America, Donald Trump.
Donald J. Trump is now president.
With one click, Liberty Nation delivers tomorrow's news.
And remember, liberty.
Today.
All the time and everywhere.
LibertyNation.com.